Hey you, it's me. And I was thinking a lot about friendships today. and these three gentlemen is Eddie Fisher, who was a famous singer, and the father of Carrie Fisher, who was Princess Leia. Just so you know. The gentleman in the middle is Eddie Cantor, and the gentleman on the end is Sammy Davis Jr. And uh, Eddie Cantor was one of the big influences on Sammy Davis Jr. becoming Jewish because as they had a conversation together, Eddie talked about how he was in the slums, the Jewish slums, and Sammy talked about how he was in the black slums, and their lives were very similar, and they became very good friends, and they did a lot of good things for each other. So, my favorite story is Eddie Cantor had his own show, and he invited Sammy Davis Jr. on, and he was told that he could have him for, this episode, but no more because racism. And so Eddie had him on for 6 weeks straight. I always love that story. Anyway, this to me is, friendship, what friendship is really about. And good people backing each other up and taking care of each other. Now, what is not friendship is when you think of someone like Ashton Kutcher and Masterson. I just don't even like saying his name, Danny Masterson. Backing up a criminal, especially the crimes that Danny Masterson committed and has been committed for, is disgusting. And supporting a friend who did such disgusting acts as that is, to me, just really gross. What kind of friendship is that? That's not true friendship. That's you not giving a crap about the Jane Does and what happened to them. That's what that's about. And I really find it just disgusting and frustrating and gross. And I was thinking about all these kind of friendships and what happens when someone gets canceled and who supports them and who doesn't. And it reminded me of a story that happened to me when I was a teenager. There was a guy that I knew. He was, an acquaintance of mine, a friend of a friend. We'll call him Rick. And Rick was a really nice guy. He was a nice guy. He had a beautiful girlfriend that he absolutely adored. They were a wonderful couple. And I really liked the both of them, to be honest. I thought they were just really neat people. And I hung out with them. I partied with them. And they even did me a huge favor once by driving me 3 hours just so I could go see my boyfriend. And they were just really nice people. Cut to a couple years later, I had moved away from the area that I knew them, and another friend of mine I was talking to on the phone, and they said, "Hey, did you hear what happened about Rick?" I said, "No, what happened to Rick? What's going on? Is he all right?" Well, it turns out that his beautiful girlfriend had a roving eye, and she cheated on him. And he got so angry that he literally hunted this guy down, ran him over with his truck, backed up, and ran him over again. The dude did not survive, and Rick ended up in prison. Now, Rick, at this point, I always thought was a really good guy, but he had a bad temper. And although I understand getting upset about a girlfriend cheating, especially someone that he really felt was like his other half, his everything, his twin, you know what I mean? Just, she was his world. I cannot condone doing that to somebody. You know, his girlfriend was half the blame there. And I don't know what happened with the girlfriend. I just know that Rick ended up in prison. And at this point, I would say that he might be out. Because it's been this was in the 80s. So it's been some time, and it's quite possible he could be out. I don't know how long he was supposed to stay in prison. But I can't stay his friend. I like the guy. But after you run over somebody, not once, but twice, you got to kind of let it go and say, look, dude, I thought you were a good guy, but that wasn't a good move. And he was ready to go to prison because he knew it was a wrong move. I support him in that. I support him in the fact that he knew it was a wrong thing to do, that his temper got the best of him, and prison was where he belonged. And I respect him for that. I really do. And if he's out of prison now, he's paid his dues, he did his time, and he can go on living the rest of his life. But it was a bad scene, and I'm not going to support somebody who did that, who murdered someone. As good a guy as he seemed, yeah, I cannot support that behavior. And I don't know, in some ways I feel like Danny Masterson, what he did is worse, because the victims of his crimes didn't just die and it was over. They had to live with that crime for the rest of their lives. They're still living with it. It's still there. And as someone who went through a similar type of thing, it's always going to be there, no matter what. You can get over it. You can get on with your life. You can move on and do other things. But in the back of your mind, it's always there. It's always there. It doesn't go away completely. And it doesn't always have to bother you. It doesn't have to devastate you. You can move on from it, but it's always there. And I feel in some ways that's almost worse. So continuing a connection with a guy who is willing to treat not just one, not just two, not just three, there were more, to treat them in that manner of complete and utter disrespect and not treating them human. How could you call that person a friend? And it just kind of blows me away. I see so many people talking about friendships where somebody lied to another person and they're devastated. I'm just thinking, well, you didn't kill anyone. But I agree with them, though. If somebody is just an outright liar and just displays really disgusting behaviors, I don't accept that either. That is no longer my friend. That's no longer a person that I trust or that I want to be around. And that's really the thing. Your best friend is somebody that you trust, that you tell your deepest, darkest secrets to, whether that's your partner or a good friend that you've known for years, or whoever it might be, or your parents or a grandparent. That person knows so much about you. And when they do something that's so heinous that you are worried now, what are they going to do to me? Are they going to do something to me? I mean, that's the first thing that I think a lot of people think of, especially liars. Oh, they lied about this other person. Did they lie about me too? Who else did they lie about? What else did they lie about? You know, these are questions that are going on in your head. So for anybody to continue to support Danny Masterson is kind of disgusting, because they're saying that those Jane Does are less than what he is. And it's completely the opposite. Those Jane Does didn't have control over what happened to them. He did, and he harmed them. And I could not support a friend that could harm somebody like that, let alone several. My friend, in a fit of anger and rage, harmed somebody out of existence. And I can't back that up either. Even though I understand that anger and that frustration, those horrible feelings of your heart being broken, I couldn't support that. But I can still wish him well. I don't think he was a bad guy. I just think he did a bad thing. Where someone like Danny Masterson, he's just a bad guy. How do you support that? Why would you want to support that? And it seems like most of the cast of that 70s show supported him, and still do. Not all, but a lot of them. And it's like, I don't care who you are, how long I've known you. I had a friend that I had known since I was 14 years old. And at 30, he lied to me, was so deceitful, and did so many disgusting things. And I thought he was my best friend. He wasn't. He was never my best friend. I don't even know if he was ever my friend. He liked to take me around and show me off and pretend that I was his girlfriend, or in one time his fiance. But we never were. We were only friends. But I don't think we were ever really friends. You don't treat friends like that. You don't lie to them. You don't lie to other people about them. And that was just lies. That was just talk. And that was bad enough for me to say no. No more. So I don't understand people like Ashton Kutcher or his wife. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. Oh, Mila Kunis. How they could support or write letters of support after he was convicted. Things like that I just find disgusting, and I think that they're disgusting people. If you can support someone who can do such heinous, disgusting, vile acts, then that says a lot about you. Anyway, I hate to see those terrible things while I have this beautiful picture of true friendship here. But that was what true friendship was. And these days, I don't know if people even know what true friendship is anymore. Everybody just fucking everybody over. Lying, deceit. I was thinking about Britney too, Britney Spears. That poor woman. I'm glad she's finally out there and telling her story. Not everybody else telling her story for her. She's out there telling it herself, and good for her. Anyway, that's all I got to say.